Macky Motors in Lake City is the place to find new and certified used vehicles. With a knowledgeable sales staff and amazing service departments, you'll drive away satisfied. Find new roads at Macky Motors in Lake City, mackymotors.com.
Jeff Blankman joined here today by Isaac Blankman and Lane Sams with the IKM-Manning boys cross-country team. They just ran down here at the WIC meet. It's being held, of course, this year down in Audubon, and Isaac with a strong finish, finished up in 11th place here today. Isaac, strong run for you. How did you feel at the beginning? It looked like you were kind of in that middle third when you got out today.
Yeah, I always like to start it a little bit slower so I can ease into my race so I can pass people in the middle in the end, because that's what our coach tells us to do.
What was that first part of the race like? How quick was the start for the leaders today?
I think my first mile was around 5:50 or 5:45, so it was pretty fast. It was still a fast mile, but throughout the middle of the race I eased into it and then I sped up at the end.
Take me through the hills here. How did you feel like you ran them? Because it looked like you ran uphill pretty well today.
Yeah, it felt like the hills were a little bit better than the first time I ran this course. I felt like I eased into it more and I was almost sprinting at the end of it when I got to the top, so I was able to pass people at the tops. But yeah, it felt good.
Having run this course before, how do you think that helped you kind of come up with the strategy here today?
I think it helped me realize which hills I was supposed to push up and pass people on, which hills felt better for my legs, so that helped a lot.
You mentioned that fairly quick pace on that first mile. Did that affect your second mile, or did you feel pretty strong?
I think my second mile, I always slow down a little bit, and that's my slowest mile. And then at the end, I tend to speed up and pass more people. So. Where'd
you pass the most people? Was it in that third mile here today?
Yeah, I was in the third mile. I was about 14th, 15th throughout the whole race, and then towards the last mile, I passed about 3 or 4 people. So.
Take me through that second to last downhill around the tree and then back up. How'd you feel there? Because I watched you. You looked like you were kind of feeling it a little bit, but you also looked pretty determined.
Yeah, I could hear their footsteps behind me, so I figured I needed to get this. I wanted to be all conference, so that's what I strove for. And then down that hill, I kind of slowed down a little bit so I could save myself for the last uphill and kind of sprint that uphill.
What was coming through across the finish line feeling like today?
It felt really good because I know I got my goal.
Well, I tell you what, great job out here. Continue the good work. Appreciate you joining us here today.
Yeah.
You bet. Let's slide over now to Lane Sams. And Lane, congrats. A strong finish today, 7th place for you. You and I were kind of talking, and you said, well, not much for football practice with it being a Monday. You thought you'd come in pretty strong. How'd you feel out here today?
Felt good for the first mile, and then it finally caught up to me Friday's game. I think Tuesday meets are a little bit easier because I have that practice kind of slow things down, especially with the JV game being on Monday, so it's usually a little slower. Helps me recover a little bit better.
How are you dealing? 2nd year in a row, so it's not like you're not experienced 4th year in a row, but how are you dealing with being football and cross country?
It's fun being busy every day, and then it's kind of like a rest day from football, but then the football's also like a rest day from this. But doing these on Thursdays and then football game Friday, that kind of kills me, but Monday should be a little better for the rest of the week.
How'd you feel at the start today? It looked like you got out pretty well with the front pack.
Got out pretty well. Usually I like to start a lot slower than I did. Last year I would sprint, I'd dive mile in, but I've kind of learned to slow down. But today, the first 5, those guys pushed the pack really well, and I just tried to hang on.
You hung with them and looked through that first mile or so. Where did they start to pull away a little bit?
Probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. I started to realize those hills were catching me, and then I was like, it's better for me to save a little bit for the end instead of just die now.
Did you feel like you had enough left at the end?
Thought I did. I kept getting a little burst, and I'd feel better up the hill, and then I'd get to the top, and then I would die. So coming into the finish line, I was just kind of hoping I'd get there as fast as I possibly can.
And that was a sprint down that hill. What's it like trying to sprint down that hill with other guys sprinting all around you?
It's fun going a lot. Sprints like on flat are not very fun towards the end of the race, but going straight down the hill it's always fun. You're feeling fast, but once you start, there's no stopping, and it's a lot farther than you'd think.
Leader of this group, you got some young guys and maybe some inexperienced guys kind of running with you this year. What's it like being the leader of this group?
It's really fun, especially us, like top 5. We're all pretty close friends, and it's kind of fun pushing each other. And then us 4 and 5 guys, us 3 like to make fun of them a little bit because we're up there. It's a senior and 2 sophomores leading this pack, so that's what we like to talk about those 2 juniors, 4 and 5. So we like to keep it fun.
State qualifying meets coming up here quick. What do you got to do to get back down to Fort Dodge?
Just run my best race. Hopefully I'm feeling pretty good. I'm assuming next week's practice should be a little bit easier for football, especially if we make the playoffs. But I'm hoping it'll be a little easier considering I have that state qualifier meet on Thursday, so that'll be fun. And I'm not running Saturday's meet this week just to get a little bit of extra rest after football game Friday.
I tell you what, congrats on another outstanding season. Appreciate you joining us here today. Best of luck coming up the rest of the way.
Thank you.